In this video, I'm going to explain what a head and shoulders price pattern is in the stock market. On my screen here is a price chart, and this one is for Best Buy. And each of these price bars represents one day of price activity. And if you kind of lean your head back from the screen and just kind of look holistically at the chart here, you might be able to make out a head and shoulders type of shape. Like right in the middle here is the highest peak, and it's kind of the head. And then this is one shoulder here, and this is another, and the arms kind of go down over here. Now, with human shoulders, they're kind of flat. If you go from the neck to the edge of the shoulder, like you go down from the head and then it goes flat. But when you talk about the price chart and the chart pattern for head and shoulders, the shoulders are actually indicated by points, by peaks. So the head itself is the highest peak on this chart pattern, but then the shoulder on one side it's designated by the peak on that side, and on the other side it's designated by the peak. And so I would look at this chart and I'd say, okay, this is one shoulder, this is the head, and this is the other shoulder, each a respective peak with the head being the highest peak. There's one other characteristic of a head and shoulders price pattern, and that's the neckline. And the neckline is looking at the lower peaks here. So you can I just looked at these upper peaks, but the lower peaks are considered the neckline. And you can see here, like this is one lower peak under that shoulder, and this is another lower peak under that shoulder. And then the line connecting them is considered the neckline. So how can an investor benefit from this particular chart pattern? Well, the idea is that if you see a head and shoulders pattern set up, once the price gets to the price level that corresponds to the neckline, then you could potentially play it as a breakout trade, going to the downside, which might also be referred to as a breakdown trade. So in other words, if the price level gets to the point of the neckline and breaks through that level going downward, that's a potential momentum play, meaning you could short the stock or buy puts in hopes that the price continues downward momentum. And so that's what the trade setup is. There is some interpretation as to how you set up the neckline and where exactly that point of the neckline is. You can see here that this particular low point that makes up one connecting piece of the neckline, it's a support level right here. This is higher than this. If you look at the white horizontal line coming out of my cursor, you can see that this low point is lower than this. So there's some room for interpretation. Is the breakout point just a horizontal line from here because this is the lower, or because it's the more recent? Or is it more like a line needs to be drawn between the two, and therefore the breakdown or breakout point is here, over here? And that's where there's some room for interpretation. Most commonly, this is taken to be the way that it would be traded, is that you would connect a line between the two support levels that make up the neckline. And so at this point, this would be where to enter that breakdown trade. And so you could either short the stock or buy puts, or some other trade mechanism that benefits from the price going downward. So that's what a head and shoulders pattern is, and that's the theory behind how you can benefit from it as an investor. So now the question is, does it actually work? And that's what we aim to do at Stock Market Guides. We aim to answer that question by using historical data. We look at history and say, okay, for Best Buy, how many times has a head and shoulders pattern set up? And of those times, how many times did the stock price end up continuing to go down? And how many times did it not? And what was the average change in price? And that way you can know whenever you see a given trading setup, whether it's a head and shoulders or any other popular trading pattern, you can know historically, well, what happened in the past? does this actually have some sort of basis of a track record of success? And the idea is to inform your trading decisions so that you're not making blind trades just based on ideologies, but you're making trades based on what has a track record of success historically. If you have any questions about the Head and Shoulders pattern or about just the stock market in general, you can contact us anytime. Our email address is support@stockmarketguides.com.